Alright, let's get this stream up and going. I did not plan on streaming tonight. This is very spur of the moment. So, what time is it? 8:30 my time? We've never really streamed around this time, so it'll be interesting to see just how well this stream goes. We're going to be talking about why you should stop arguing with your negative intrusive thoughts today. That is going to be the topic of this stream. Very important. We talk about this a lot here on the channel. Very important. Miss Lady Blue, hello, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Hello, Bracy, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Hello, everyone. Welcome. I hope you have all had an amazing, wonderful day. Abigail, hello. Christopher, hello. I just finished playing some Rust. We just went on a Rust grind for my fellow gamers out there who know what Rust is. Just played that for like 5 hours straight. Did not plan on streaming tonight, but here we are. This is very spur of the moment. How is everyone doing? As always, we will give it a few minutes to let some people get in here that want to watch us live before we get started, but we are talking about negative intrusive thoughts on the stream today. Very important. Why you should stop arguing with them. The reason you should stop arguing with them. About to go to the movies and see a Little Peep documentary. That is awesome. Hope you have a great time. Hope you have a great time at the movies. Negative intrusive thoughts. Oh wow, one of our favorite subjects here on the channel. They cause us so much discomfort, especially for those of us who are sensitized. Negative intrusive thoughts, they tend to just shake us up quite a bit. Alright, we're approaching that 2-minute mark, so we're going to go ahead and get the point of this stream started. Why you should stop arguing with your negative intrusive thoughts. So this stream is going to be pretty straight to the point, okay? The reason you should stop arguing with your negative intrusive thoughts is, well, there's actually several reasons. Number one being, and you've heard this one a million times before, the body doesn't know the difference between a real threat and your imagination, so the more fuel you give to these thoughts, the more you're thinking these thoughts, because you're giving them so much fuel, the more your body's going to react, especially if you are sensitized. But even more important, okay, or equally as important, a reason you should not be arguing with your negative intrusive thoughts is because every time you do so, your brain, okay, is like, whoa, look at them get involved. Look at them arguing and fighting with this thought. It must be a real threat. It must be a real danger. It doesn't know any better. So every time you get involved and argue with your negative intrusive thoughts and you obsess for hours on end, you are telling your brain that that thought is a real threat. You are getting involved and you're trying to do something about it, right? You're working with it. You're fighting with it. You're arguing with it. And that is telling your brain that said thought must be a real danger, or otherwise you wouldn't be so involved. You wouldn't be up there fighting or arguing with said thoughts if they weren't a real danger. So the fact that you are must mean that it's a real danger, that it's a real threat. That's how your brain takes it. Your brain doesn't know any better, so that's the way it looks at it. So now, from this point forward, every time you have that same thought, you're going to be triggered, because your brain now assumes that said thought is a danger, is a threat to you, because you got so involved, because you fueled the fire, because you entertained it and argued with it and fought with it for so long. The brain sees you jumping in and doing that, and now assumes that said thought is a real threat. Okay, so next time you experience said thought, you're going to get triggered. And because you get triggered, you want to jump in and you want to argue and fight even more. And that's the cycle. Oops, I did not mean to pull that down. That is the cycle. So you get triggered. You argue and fight with the thoughts. The brain continues to think, due to your involvement, that said thought is a danger. Said thought is, a threat to your life. So it keeps it like that. It keeps that trigger there. So next time you're triggered by said thoughts, you get involved again, because you're triggered again and you think that you need to get involved, so you argue and fight again, and the brain continues to think this is a real danger. And that is the cycle. It happens over and over again. You get said thought, it triggers you because of what your brain has learned, okay, even if it's false, the brain doesn't know any better, so you continue to fight. And so you continue to get triggered. And that is the cycle. That is the, you could say, OCD cycle, if you want to call it OCD. I don't really put a whole lot of labels on things, but that's the cycle. That's the cycle right there. So every time you get involved and argue with your negative thoughts, you're telling your brain that those thoughts are a real threat. So your brain remembers that. You get triggered when you experience them again. You continue to fight even harder, and it's just never-ending cycle. So that was the point of today's stream. Really quick and to the point, but a very important point. A very important point. Very, very important that you take that with you and you remember that next time you want to get involved and fight and argue with your negative thoughts. All right, you guys, we're going to read some comments. Hey, new listener, where are you from? I am from Virginia, United States. Sometimes I can't figure out which things I should actually worry about. Most things you do not actually need to worry about. Your life situation is actually very simple. Most worries are unneeded. Most worries are unneeded and ridiculous, and they don't actually solve anything. They don't actually, worrying does not actually solve anything. So 99% of your worry is unneeded and pointless. Unneeded and completely pointless. Worry is not action. Worry might feel like action, but true action gets shit done, right? But worry doesn't actually do anything. So it's important to remember just how futile your worry is. Alright, you guys, I'm going to continue to let this stream roll, but I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Alright, so you guys continue to chat amongst yourself, and I will be right back. We are back in action. How is everyone doing? Wow, the stream really picked up while I was on my little break there. Oh. Jeez. Hello, hi there, Wonder Bro. Hello, hello. What's up, Wonder Bro? Hello, Bert. How you doing? Welcome to the stream, everyone. I am getting increasingly tired. I wanted to get in a stream today, regardless, but I am indeed getting increasingly tired. Whew. Ooh, thank you for that $10 donation. Thank you for that $10 donation. Can we get a bunch of clap emojis in chat, please? You guys know the deal. You guys know the deal. Thank you for that $10 donation. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. You're very kind, very generous. Hi, Chris. How are you? I'm doing great, David. How are you doing? Yeah, I'm pretty tired right now, but I was like, I want to get in at least a quick stream today. So, wanted to get in a quick stream before I turned it in. Haven't been very productive today. Not gonna lie, haven't been very productive today, so. Ugh. Hope you guys have been more productive than I have today. I've had a lazy day. Definitely. Definitely a lazy day today. Big concert night tomorrow, David. Hope you have a lot of fun, my friend. Hello, Chris. Hello, Dion. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? We're just all kind of hanging out. Just kind of chilling. Just kind of chilling. Hey, Wonder Bro, you are great. Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. That is so kind of you. Roses and Thorns, hello, welcome. How you doing? Sleep is something we can't really force. The more we try to force sleep, the harder it's going to be to obtain. So, the only real advice as far as sleep is concerned is to not try to force it. Just understand that you will sleep when you sleep, eventually. And that's really, that's really all you can do about it. Just not try to force it. The more you obsess about it, the harder it's going to be to come by. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink your progress. Don't jinx yourself, so to speak. The more you obsess about this thing, the more stressed out you're going to become, so no need to overthink your progress. Oh yes, roses and thorns, definitely. Very, very common. Very cool. Hello from Canada. Love your videos. Well, thank you so much. Welcome to the stream. We're just all hanging out, being lazy today. I've been very, very lazy today. What should I do if I want to sleep all day long? Hey, I mean, that's personal choice, you know? That's personal choice. If you want to sleep all day long or whatever your sleep schedule may be, that's all up to you. If you don't like it, fix it, you know? I gave up smoking 1 year ago after 16 years. Would love to smoke one, though. Yeah, I know. It's really all about what you tell yourself. It's about what you believe, so... I mean, I'm a pretty heavy smoker. I always have been since I was about 16 years old. Before I even ran into sensitization. I mean, I was always a pretty anxious kid, a worrywart, but I started smoking even long before I ever became sensitized for the first time, so I've been a lifelong smoker, pretty heavy smoker at that. It's just a habit at this point. Just a bad habit at this point. Thank you for that $10 donation again from Jason. Jason, thank you for that $10 donation. I really appreciate that. You guys are so generous. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful. Can we get a bunch of clap emojis in chat? You guys already know the deal. Thank you for that $10 donation, Jason. I appreciate it, dude. Hey, Wonder Bro, what's up? Love from California. Hello, Mike. How you doing? We're actually getting the notifications for donations today. I don't know why they weren't working on our last stream. I think it was the last stream. So if I missed your donation last stream, I am extremely sorry for that. I don't know what was going on with that. Notifications were not going off like they should have been. But it looks like it's fixed now, so... The difference between disregarding thoughts and avoiding them, so we accept that thoughts come. We don't get frustrated when thoughts come. We can acknowledge that thoughts are there, but we just remind ourselves that we're not going to argue with them. So that's the way that we need to go about that. Nothing wrong with acknowledging that thoughts are there. Nothing wrong with that. We just don't want to add to them, right? We just don't want to argue with them. We don't want to give our brain any reason... Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. We don't want to give our brain any reason to believe that those thoughts are threats. And when we argue and fight with them, we're telling our brain that those thoughts are threats. Sorry, it got really dark in here. I'm over here on my computer kind of multitasking. I've got you guys on one screen and what I'm doing on the other. So the brightness really depends on what I'm doing over here. And right now, I'm on a pretty dark screen. I am extremely thirsty. We're going to have to get something to drink. I don't think any of your negative, worrisome thoughts are very realistic, Bracy. The more you obsess and start writing things down and getting so involved, the more obsessed you're going to become, and the more obsessed you become, you know, the more you're going to stress yourself out, stress your nerves out. It's really not worth it. That's why I'm not a huge fan of this CBT approach. I think it's pretty useless, honestly, to spend that much time obsessing. Oh, trust me, you can spend days, weeks, months, even years arguing with your negative thoughts, Bracy. You can spend days, weeks, months, and years, but you're not going to get them out, so to speak. The more you entertain them and argue with them, the more they're going to stick around, the more they're going to trigger you. Your brain's just going to assume that they're real dangers the more you fight with them, so trust me, I tried that approach. I tried the approach of getting them out and fighting with them and writing them out and never accomplished much. Never accomplished much arguing with my thoughts. In fact, I did that for years. Hello, Shane. Alright, you guys, I gotta get something to drink. I am thirsting to death over here, but I will return. Hello, hello. I have returned. I just crammed down a peanut butter sandwich. I love a good peanut butter sandwich. We had to take a quick food break, but we are back now. I couldn't fight that hunger any longer. I was pretty hungry, not gonna lie to you. I never realize how hungry I am until I start the stream, and then I'm like, huh, pretty hungry. Happens that way every time. Happens that way every time. Whoa, let's see. No, that's not what I want to do. I want to bring up this, put that right there. Okay, there we go. Whoa, what is going on? What is going on? My door monitors are being weird here. They're being weird. Your brain getting frustrated at symptoms. So that's basically you following negative thoughts. That's basically you getting too involved with the negative thoughts in your mind. So we need to follow those two main keys: acceptance and not following those negative thoughts. Coming to that firm decision that you're no longer going to follow those sorts of thoughts. And I know, believe me, I know that is easier said than done, but it is a practice that is absolutely vital to your recovery. It's a practice that you must get into. Not following those negative thoughts, not giving fuel to the mind. Easier said than done, I know, but it's a practice that we must get into. The more we fuel those negative thoughts, the further down the rabbit hole we go. One negative thought leads to another. The whole time you're just stressing yourself out. You think you're doing yourself some good, right? It kind of feels like at first that you might be doing yourself a favor by arguing with these negative thoughts. It kind of seems like it's what you have to do, what you must do. But at the end of the day, the more you do so, the more you're just kind of fueling the fire. So, absolutely vital to your recovery that you learn to take a step back and stop following those negative thoughts. I know it's very tempting. Believe me, I know it is very tempting. But we have to we have to start putting the focus elsewhere, into the present moment, into reality. We have to stop giving so much attention, and we have to stop arguing so much with those negative thoughts. Now, please do not get confused. That's not to say that you're never going to experience negative thoughts again once you make this choice. No, that's not how it works. Unfortunately, that is not how it works. You are going to have those negative thoughts come and knock from time to time, and they may knock pretty loudly and frequently. But the more you practice not arguing with them and just letting them come and go as they will, and not giving them so much attention by fighting with them, the less they will come, the more you will heal. Please do not get confused into thinking that this is about shutting the thoughts out completely, because that's not going to happen. They're still going to knock from time to time. They are. This is about not arguing with them, accepting their presence but not going there with them. That is what this is about. Some people get confused and they think, well, if I could just shut my thoughts down like you suggest. I'm not suggesting that you shut your thoughts down. That's very, very difficult to do. That's not what this is about. Nova's photobombing. Yeah, she was. See, I've got my setup right near my window, and she loves to look out the window. She loves to look out the window and I guess bark at cats. That's what she does. So she photobombs quite often now that my setup is by the window. Here she comes again. I'm getting a phone call. Sorry, not going to answer that at the moment. I don't know how to mute calls on the iPad. Wait, did we mute it? Okay. There we go. There we go. Been pretty busy this week, Christopher. What have you been getting into, my friend? What have you been staying busy with? Since we're on the subject of thoughts, okay. Present moment living. I highly suggest that you practice present moment living as a way to starve thoughts of that fuel, right? As a way to not follow negative thoughts. Present moment living is great for this. And if you want more information on that, how to do that, I've got several videos. You could look up any video really involving thoughts, and I probably touch on present moment living. Or you could just type in present moment. I've probably got some videos out there with that in the title, I'm sure. Or you can always check out Eckhart Tolle. Always check out Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle is amazing. Eckhart Tolle is the man. Let's see. Let me refresh this. I believe we're lagging behind a little bit. Had a client for a logo. Then I designed some more merch from Amazon store and made some web icons. That is awesome. Sounds like you have been pretty busy. Yes, acceptance is key, Jenny. There's really nothing, the more worked up we get about anxiety symptoms, the more they're just going to stress us out, and the worse they're going to seem. Second fear is really the source of true suffering, so acceptance is definitely key. But yeah, since this stream, since the topic of this stream was negative thoughts, intrusive thoughts, not arguing with, not following, because we don't want to tell our brains, or show our brains rather, that there is some real threat when there's not, okay? Since the body doesn't know any better. That's what the topic of this stream was. So I just wanna stress that if you guys want more information on present moment living, which I highly suggest, look up some Eckhart Tolle videos. Look up some Eckhart Tolle videos. Eckhart Tolle is amazing. I love him. Well, thanks for posting that, Joe. Joe just posted a link in chat for those of you who are interested in learning about present moment awareness, living in the present moment, which is a very, very helpful skill to learn as far as not following negative thoughts is concerned. Very, very helpful as far as your thoughts go. I mean, I guess you could, with sheer willpower, not follow your negative thoughts when they come, not argue with them, but it will make it a lot easier on you and probably be more effective if you learn about the present moment and living in the present moment. It's basically a form of meditation, but I don't like to use the term meditation. You guys know that. That term seems to turn some people off for some reason. I think there's just a lot of misconceptions around the term meditation, so I don't use that word a whole lot. But living in the present moment is basically a form of meditation, or it is meditation rather. Acceptance will always be key, my friend. When we feel our feelings and allow them to be, know they're temporary, feel them, allow them, stop adding so much second fear, stop telling ourselves that we shouldn't feel this way, so forth and so on. That is where we'll eventually find peace. If I sound extremely tired right now, it's because I am. It's because I am. I was actually going to head to bed before I did this stream, but I was like, you know what? We haven't streamed today. Let's get in a quick stream at least. At least a quick one, right? Maybe not one of those long 4-hour streams, but let's at least get in a quick stream, right? Not following negative thoughts doesn't mean pushing them away. It means noticing them, accepting that they are truly meaningless, then going on with your day. Yes, Joe. So we're not trying to run from them, like Joe says. We're not trying to run from them, because that would just get us even more worked up, right? We're noticing and accepting, but we're not adding to. We're not arguing with. They're there. We remind ourselves that, I'm not going to argue with this because there's no point. They're meaningless. The more I argue with it, the more stressed out I'm going to become. The more wrong signals I'm going to be sending to my brain. And then we just get on with our day. So we're not trying to avoid or run away from. We're accepting. We're definitely accepting. We're just not getting involved with. We're no longer getting involved. There it is. I'm not going to try to do anything about it. Hello. I know if I get involved, I'm just going to stress myself out. I'm just going to send my brain the wrong signals. They're meaningless. They're triggering me because I'm sensitized. But other than that, completely and totally meaningless. Just remind yourself of the truth instead of getting involved like you want to do. I know you want to. I know how strong the habit can be. But instead of doing that, remind yourself of the truth and then move on with your day. Thank you for coming on. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I was gonna just pass out and go to sleep, but I was like, we haven't streamed today, and I love streaming, no matter how tired I am. I love streaming, so I was like, why not? Why not get a quick little stream in tonight? Thank you for that, Joe. You always go above and beyond, Joe. I am appreciative of that. Yeah, don't try to run from or try to kill the negative thoughts. I mean, the more you argue, the more you get involved. I mean, that's the point of this stream. The more you argue, the more you get involved. The more you're just telling your brain that there's a real threat when there's not. It's, I don't like labels, but we could call this OCD. You feel obsessed, you feel like you have to give in to some sort of compulsion to get the thoughts to leave you alone. The compulsion being to, the ritual being to argue with your thoughts, or to do this or do that. Most commonly, it's to argue with your thoughts. That's what most people go to. But, the more we practice not giving into that and just letting them come and go, the less power they'll have over us eventually. The quicker our nerves will heal. But like I said, I know it's tempting. I know it is tempting to get involved. I know it is so tempting. It is so tempting. It feels like it's just the end of the world if you don't get involved. You feel like you just will never get any relief unless you get involved and do something about it. But it's actually the opposite. That's the irony of this whole thing. It's actually the opposite. The fact that these thoughts bother you so much is, one, because you're sensitized, and two, because you gave them so much power in the past that now your brain is confused and thinks that these thoughts are some sort of real threat. So we have to reverse that now. And I know when you get triggered by these thoughts, the last thing you want to do is not argue with them. You want to argue with them because you want relief. but you're just hurting yourself in the long run. And, you know, it's ironic, but it's true. It's ironic, but it's true. And you'll see that for yourself the sooner you start practicing this. The sooner you start practicing this. You could even come up with some sort of mantra if you want to remind yourself to stay grounded and not get drug into the thoughts and not argue with them. Come up with some sort of mantra. It's okay to acknowledge. There's absolutely nothing wrong with acknowledging, hey, I'm having these thoughts again and they're triggering me. It's more than okay to acknowledge, but maybe have some sort of mantra that you follow that acknowledgement up with, right? Some sort of mantra. I don't know. Let's think of a quick one together, Chad. What could you tell yourself to remind yourself in that moment not to get involved? You could come up with anything. Come up with some sort of mantra. Every time you want to get involved with the thoughts, you know, instead of doing that, just acknowledge what's happening. Remind yourself of the truth. And when I say that, I mean remind yourself that, hey, I'm sensitized. My brain thinks these thoughts are dangers. I know they're not. You know, the more I get involved, the more stressed out I'm going to become. I'm going to send my brain the wrong signal. You know, don't drag it on like that. You don't have to drag it on like that, but just try to hold on to those truths there to give you some extra motivation to not get involved with the thoughts. I got that from Oprah. Yeah, I mean, back when I first, you know, started this journey into recovery, I would just simply remind myself, anytime I wanted to get involved with these thoughts, that it was pointless, and the more I do so, the more my brain is going to think I'm in danger, and I definitely didn't want that. I definitely didn't want that. That's the funny thing about anxiety. Physical symptoms, mental symptoms, you know, like negative thoughts, whatever, it's all in the same basket. And it all needs to be treated the same. It all comes down to the more you get involved, whether that be with the thoughts or the negative mental interpretations about the feelings themselves, whatever it may be, the more you get involved, the more your brain is going to try to continue to protect you with the very same feelings that you don't want. It also helped me, back when I was recovering, it helped me to continue to remind myself from time to time that the old me, referring to, when I said that, I was referring to the me before sensitization, that the old me would not care about these thoughts, that the old me would laugh at these thoughts, and that the old me did not care about these things, these thoughts that were going through my head, these worries. The old me didn't give a shit about any of that. Did not give a shit about any of that. So it was helpful to remind myself of that from time to time, because we tend to get more involved than we should with these negative thoughts because we feel like they're somehow important, but they're only appearing that way. And they're only appearing that way because you've trained your brain by mistake to fear these thoughts due to the sensitization, to confuse these thoughts with real dangers, and now they're triggering you, and now you're extra involved because you don't like being triggered. So you just continue to spiral. But it did help me tremendously to remind myself from time to time, the real me does not care about any of this. You know, think back to your past. I always recommend that you stay present and not live in the past, but this is one exception. Think back to the past. You know, did you actually care about these worries that you're having back then? No, you didn't. You're just sensitized now, and your brain has been taught that these thoughts are somehow real dangers when they're not, and that's what's happened. It's not because they're actually important, and you know that. You know that because the real you would be hysterically laughing at these thoughts. So it's not that there's anything wrong with reality. It's not that there's any real danger. You know that. The real you knows that. And it's just that your brain has got some faulty wiring going on right now. That's all that's happening. There's nothing for you to figure out. There's nothing for you to solve. You just need to stop getting involved and show your brain by not getting involved that all is well. Self-monitoring, always checking in with your symptoms, whether it be dizziness or any other sort of anxiety symptom. The best way to go about that is the same thing that we're talking about right now as far as thoughts are concerned. Um, treat that desire to check in and constantly monitor how you feel. Treat that desire the same as you would treat the thoughts, with no importance, giving it no importance. So, there's that urge, there's that thought to check in again, there's that thought to obsess about how I feel again. Treat it the same as you would intrusive OCD type thoughts, because they basically are intrusive OCD type thoughts. It's just an urge, it's just a thought, another thought. So treat it all the same. Notice it, acknowledge it, but realize the more you get involved, the worse you're going to feel. So that's a good point. Yeah, thank you, Joe. It just helped me. It helped me a lot to remind myself anytime that I wanted to get involved with those negative, intrusive thoughts that triggered me so much. It really helped to remind myself in those moments, look, bro, there is no reason to fight with these thoughts, because you know the real you. Think back to the real you. Did you ever care about this in the past? No. You're desensitized now and you're being bluffed. Your brain has just got some faulty wiring right now. The real you would not give a shit about this. And that helped to ground me. It really did. It helped to ground me because it taught me that, you're being bluffed, you're being tricked. You're in an anxiety state right now. Your brain is wired a bit faulty, and that's all that's happening. It's not the real you. It's not that these thoughts are important. The old you would be laughing at all this. So it helped to ground me, because then I realized it's totally pointless to try to argue or figure out the thoughts, because they're not the real problem. They're not the real problem. The real problem is you're just a bit sensitized right now. That's it. You're a bit sensitized, and you've trained your brain to trigger you over these thoughts because you mistakenly got involved so often with them in the past. But that's all that's happened. So that really helped me out a ton to not follow my negative thoughts. Yeah, most people, unfortunately, have been brought up to worry. Most people have not been taught about living in the present moment. Most people have not been taught about the body and the mind and how they work together. And, most people have never been taught anything about anything that I teach on the channel. Nothing. And that's unfortunate, because I feel like if more people were taught all of this stuff at a young age, and it's not even that much. I mean, I make a lot of videos, but it's all the same point at the end of the day. It's not even that much to teach. I just feel like if more children were brought up learning this sort of thing, I feel like it's crucial. I feel like it should be mandatory that we teach our kids this stuff. But unfortunately, for some reason, we believe it's more important to teach the youth about mathematics that they'll never use, and about mathematics they'll never use, and history, and I mean, that stuff has its place, don't get me wrong, but I feel like what I teach here on the channel is far more important to learn about as a kid than half of the stuff they teach in school. I mean, that's just my opinion, though. But I know personally, if I was taught this stuff as a kid, which, like I said, it's not even that much. It's not even that much. I mean, But if I was taught this stuff as a kid, I would have never spiraled out of control with the worry and the obsession, because I would have known what it was doing to me. I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was happening. I was confused. I was clueless. I was hurting myself and didn't even realize it. And that could have all been avoided if somebody would have just taken, what, an hour to teach me a brief lesson on how the body and mind works. I said to myself today to follow the advice when the intrusive thoughts comes. Yes, awesome. Like I said, I know it's so tempting to get involved. I know it is. I've been there. I know you feel like you won't get any relief unless you fix this or get involved, but you're just hurting yourself in the end. You really are. And that's the irony of this entire thing, right? That is the irony of this entire anxiety cycle. But, you're in the habit you're in, and that's just the place you're in right now. There's no need to get frustrated about it. We can work with that, and we can retrain your brain. So don't get aggravated at yourself for not knowing any better. Nothing we can do about it now, but we can reverse this cycle. We can retrain our brains, so there's no need to get upset at yourself for not knowing any better. There's nothing you can do about the past. That is awesome, Amanda. Yeah, Jennifer. Don't expect many people to understand you. It's just not going to happen. If somebody hasn't dealt with this thing for themselves, then they're pretty much clueless about it and they just don't get it. So don't even expect for many people to understand you. But we don't need them to, right? We don't need them to in order to recover. It would be nice if everyone understood, but that's just not reasonable. It's just not possible. So don't even expect people to understand you. And as sad as that might seem, we don't need them to understand. We can recover with or without their support. At the end of the day, all you need is the knowledge and yourself. That's all you need. I'm giving you the knowledge part, so now it's up to you. I think the biggest hurdle that most people face when using the advice is that it feels so counterproductive. It feels so counterproductive to accept your feelings and to not try to fix them. It feels so counterproductive to let your thoughts come and go instead of getting involved. It feels like you need to get involved, and that's the biggest hurdle. But truly, at the end of the day, the more you get involved, the more you're just sending that wrong message to your brain. The further down the rabbit hole you're going, the more sensitized you're becoming. And that's the irony of it. I like that quote, Amanda. Yeah, I agree, Bracy. This journey is your journey, and you can't expect really for people to understand. Yeah, definitely, Joe. We should all be respectful. What was that? Jesus. Yeah, that's the big hurdle that most people face, Edward, is that it does feel counterproductive to not try to fix yourself. It does feel counterproductive to not argue with those thoughts. You kind of feel like, oh, just letting the thoughts do what they want, not getting involved, that's gonna screw me up, isn't it? Like they're just gonna mess me up if I just let them go untouched. I need to get in there and do something about them. But that's the irony of it. The more you do that, the more you get involved, the worse you're going to feel, and the more sensitized you're going to become. So, it applies to all of that. This applies to all of that. So, you stop giving into the rituals, you stop with the coping methods, you stop trying to figure it out, you stop trying to fix it, you let the thoughts come and go as they will, you let the feelings be there without adding the second fear. It's all about not getting involved. The more you get involved with these thoughts, the more hardwired into your brain they're going to become. The more your brain is going to assume there's a real danger where there's not. The more you get involved, the more anxiety is going to continue to protect you, because your brain is going to continue to think that you're in trouble. And that's really what it comes down to. Oh, that is awesome. Congratulations. That is what I'm here for, to help as many people as I possibly can. I definitely feel like it's my life purpose. I don't know what that was I heard out my window earlier. That was loud. Let's see, is it possible for me to lean back and still be on camera? Nova, I'm sorry, but you have to go get in your bed. You have to go get in your bed, puppy. Alright, let's stack some pillows up here. I am really tired, but I'm enjoying this stream too much to end it right here. We're going to keep it going for a little bit longer. There we go. Look at the stuffing. Nova has ripped a hole in this cushion. I have to keep constantly pushing it back in. Wow, this is actually quite nice. I'm really glad I moved my setup over here. I'm really glad I moved my setup over here. This works, dude. This works. Lay back, relax. This is so much better than so much better than having the setup over on my desk. Sitting in that busted computer chair for however long was just like killer on my back. This works out so much better. I just need the comments to be a bit bigger. Oh well. Oh well. I'm not complaining. Reaching a state of calm and healing your nerves, the first thing you have to understand is that that happens over time. It's not something that you can just immediately turn off. It's that anxious response. Those sensitized nerves, they do take time to heal, so understand that first. Secondly, if you dedicate to the advice here, which is not adding second fear, aka negative mental interpretations about the feelings you feel about your anxiety. So, for example, you get anxiety symptoms and you immediately start going, oh my god, I don't want to feel this way. Cut out that second fear, acceptance. Do not follow those negative intrusive thoughts. So they come, you accept that they came, but you don't follow them. You don't add to them, you don't fight with them, you don't give in to the compulsions to do anything about them. You let them come and go. The more you do this, okay, the more your brain will start to learn and understand that you're not in any real danger and that these thoughts aren't really dangerous and that you don't need protection. And this takes time, it takes practice, but it is well worth it in the end. Well worth it in the end. It does take dedication, but how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to heal? The first video I ever uploaded on the channel was right around the time that I realized I was 100% back to my old self again. So that was about 2 years ago, something like that. 2-3 years ago. Let's just have a big sleepover tonight. You guys just want to have a sleepover? Maybe at first, Jennifer, when I first came out of it. But after a while, it's just, once your nerves completely healed, you kind of just move on from the subject. I mean, obviously I haven't moved on from the subject because I'm doing streams every day, but you stop caring about it, is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't, the thought of it doesn't trigger you anymore. That's probably the best way to put it. I'm getting sleepy, you guys. So sleepy. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Eckhart Tolle, I would highly recommend you do so. Present moment living, learning how to focus on a sound, which is my personal favorite. Learning how to focus on a sound that's around you and putting your attention and focus on that sound while you just carry on with whatever it is you're doing. But the attention and focus stays on that object in reality. Helps take away power from the mind. Helps take away that fuel. So that's a good way to not follow all of those negative thoughts. That's a good way to become calmer, to heal your nerves. Or I guess you could say, you know, like I said earlier, just sheer willpower to not follow your negative thoughts when they come, reminding yourself of why you shouldn't, and then choosing not to, just through sheer willpower and dedication. But I find it's much more peaceful to do it through present moment living, right? I find it's much more peaceful that way, rather than going the sheer willpower and dedication route. Much more peaceful if you just have the mind focused on something else. Takes practice, and I know most of you probably hear me say that and you think, oh wow, you're crazy. There's no way I'm going to be able to do that. But that's just another thought, right? It's just another thought. Excuse me. Taco Bell for 30. I haven't ate a whole lot today. Haven't had much of an appetite. I don't know, that happens sometimes for some reason. I don't really question it. Some days I eat like a pig, and other days I just don't have much of an appetite. It's okay though. I can definitely afford to lose a few pounds, that's for sure. That's for sure. I did not think this was going to turn into one of those long streams, but here we are. I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying just rambling with you guys. It's fun for me. It's like hanging out with your long distance family, right? We've got a big family here. We've got a big family here on the channel. Lots of brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and cousins and... Two Tires Down, what's up, dude? Welcome to the stream. We are in super chill mode right now. Not doing anything special, just hanging out. I'm half dead from being so tired, but I'm enjoying the stream too much. I'm enjoying rambling too much to end it. So here we are. Oh, I will be right back, though. I will be right back. I'm still a bit thirsty, so we're gonna go get something more to drink. I'm up in the forecast to 25K subs in 2020. Hey man, let's do it. Alright, you guys, I will return. go. My eyes need to readjust now. Can't read that text. I was reading it just a minute ago. Now it just looks so tiny. Snacking on a Slim Jim over here. About to enjoy a nice cold Mountain Dew Code Red. This is the one time I could probably actually use the sugar, honestly, when I haven't ate much today. So I'm not going to feel too guilty about drinking this Code Red. I could probably use the energy at this point, the sugar. Slim Jim was delicious. I wish I had like a whole handful of them. Or one of those like mile long Slim Jims. That was just a baby one, so I ate that thing in like 2 seconds. You know what I want right now? I want some beef jerky. Now that would be good. Code Red, yes, Code Red. I want a big old bag of beef jerky. I apologize for the burping. I know it's very rude of me. I just can't help it when I'm drinking like fizzy drinks. Oh man, I've got to burp. I do not drink coffee. I mean, coffee's good. I like it. Well, not all coffee. I like my coffee really sweet. It's got to be really sweet. I can't drink just like straight black coffee. I don't know how people do that. But no, I don't drink coffee that often. Maybe every now and then. Very rare occasion. Yeah, no problem, Bracy. We're all here for each other. I mean, besides starting the channel to try and, you know, heal people, obviously, the main reason I started the channel. But other than that, I also wanted to build a community of caring, loving people that could depend on one another and support one another. That was another one of my goals with this channel, so that's what we're here for. I think we've accomplished that. I honestly have like one of the most least toxic communities on YouTube. I never have any problems out of my YouTube community, and it's awesome. I love it. We get the occasional troll from time to time, but I mean that's to be expected. But other than that, seriously is one of the nicest communities on YouTube. One of the most caring communities on YouTube that I've ever seen. No, I never really told my parents about my sensitization. I mean, they were aware that I was an anxious kid, but as I got older and I became sensitized several times, on and off. I never really told anyone that I was sensitized during those times. My way of thinking was kind of like, well, what's the point of telling people just how bad I feel? There's nothing they can do for me. You know, it's not like my parents or anyone in my family really has much experience with it, you know, as far as sensitization goes. It's not like they have much experience with it, and I knew that while I was sensitized, so I just didn't feel the need to tell them. They never knew how bad off I was. No one really knew how bad off I was. I mean, sure, they started to realize that something was wrong because I wasn't getting out of bed, I was pissing in bottles, I was becoming increasingly just dirty and filthy, and so they knew something was up, but I played it off the best I could. I was fucking miserable, but I played it off the best I could, and, you know. I never let anyone know that I was peeing in bottles. You know, I kind of kept that hidden, but anytime someone would ask me if anything was wrong, I would just, you know, oh, you know, I just feel a little sick, or no, everything's fine, I'm just tired, you know, that deal. I would just play it off however I could. The cold doesn't really trigger my anxiety. I've never really been triggered by the cold. Thinking back, I don't think I was ever really affected by the weather, whether it was hot. I know a lot of people say when it's really hot out that it triggers them, or when it's really cold out, but thinking back, even when I was at my worst, I don't remember the weather ever really having that much of an effect on me. Intrusive thoughts mean absolutely nothing. Who do I go? Who do I go to for support? Well, I've been healed now, desensitized for going on about 3 years, so I don't really need support. But even when I was sensitized, and even when I was at my worst, like I was just saying, I never felt the need to tell anybody really, because I knew there was nothing they could do for me. So all I did was pretty much stay to myself in my own little miserable world. And then I found Claire Weeks. Thank God for that. And then I found Claire Weeks and continued to stay to myself and just read Claire Weeks and listen to Claire Weeks and figure it all out on my own, really. And then started using the advice and recovered. And then I was like, hey, you know what? I can use all of my personal experience, everything I've learned from Claire Weeks and Eckhart Tolle, and, you know, all these years of experience. I can put all this together and make a YouTube channel and try to help somebody out there not have to feel as shitty as I felt. And that was the goal, right? Just to try to help somebody, anybody, not have to feel as shitty as I felt. It took me a long time to figure out the right advice, to stumble upon Clear Weeks and acceptance, and it took me a long time to figure out how the body and mind works, and, you know, all this shit that I know now. It took me a lot of suffering to obtain this knowledge, and I was like, you know what, I want to make a YouTube channel, and I want to make it simple, and I want to just be myself and be straightforward, no bullshit, and just put this information out there, and hopefully somebody who's suffering will find it, and they'll use it, and they'll heal. And before I knew it, it became a way bigger thing than I thought it would. I was like, hey, you know what, maybe I can do this for a living. That would be awesome. Maybe we can heal hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions one day, right? So that's kind of what inspired me. I just suffered for so long, and I thought it was absolute bullshit that you can't find good advice anywhere. And you got all these people wanting to charge you ass loads of money for programs. Ass loads of money for programs that you can't afford, and they're probably shit programs anyway. And I was like, you know what, this is bullshit. People should know this information, they should have this information, Anyone who's suffering should be able to go on Google, look it up, and find the correct information and use it and heal. And they shouldn't have to pay a fucking dime for it. So that's what inspired me, really, to start the channel. Man, that was bullshit. That was bullshit all the nights that I spent on Google trying to find some good information. And it just didn't exist. It just wasn't there. And if it was there, they wanted to charge you an ass load of money for it. This is ridiculous. Maybe starting a blog, that would be cool. Hey, it's whatever you want to do, you know. If you want to heal and recover and just leave this thing completely behind you and never think about it again, then so be it. But if you want to heal and recover and spread the good word, you know, about acceptance, then that's awesome too. But it's you are under no obligation to help others, but if you do heal and you want to help others, if you want to, you know, do what you can for other people, that's awesome. That's awesome. At the same time, though, I wouldn't blame you if you just moved on completely, you know. I wouldn't blame you. Don't worry, I got this under control. I got this under control. I'll keep doing my thing. And if you want to just forget about anxiety completely after you heal, then so be it. Olivia, thank you for that $15 donation from Olivia. Thank you so much for that. Can we get a bunch of clap emojis in chat, please? You guys know the deal by now. A bunch of clap emojis to let Olivia know that we are grateful. Thank you so much for that, Olivia. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. You are awesome. You guys are so generous. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. You're also very generous. I'm a little late, bro. Recap. This stream will definitely get uploaded. So if you missed the point of this stream, just give it a few. It'll be uploaded, and you can rewatch it. Yeah, we're definitely gonna upload this stream. Wonder Bro, you're awesome. Love you, man. Thanks for all you do. Well, thanks, Eddie. I appreciate that. Thank you again, Olivia, for that $15 donation. We had two $10 donations earlier from Jason. I forget who else, but you know who you are. So 3 donations this stream. Thank you guys so much for your donations. I really appreciate that. It truly does help me out a ton, more than you know. Thank you so much. Yeah, Joe's right. You can also... I forgot you could do that. I'm glad you pointed that out, Joe. I forgot you could do that. You can rewind the live streams while they're happening, I believe, right? You can rewind while they're happening, I think. So just rewind back to the beginning if you missed the point of this stream. I would just give you a quick recap, but, I mean, it wouldn't be a quick recap. I would just basically have to do the whole thing over. I basically just have to give the whole spill over. But yeah, you can rewind and catch the beginning. Yes. It's not a reflection of who you are as a person. I agree. I'm late. But hello, Big Worm. Wonder Bro, thank you. Have a good night. Thank you for stopping by, Edward. I appreciate that. Ah, okay. Thank you for clearing that up, Joe. So yeah, apparently you can rewind if you missed the beginning of the stream. Like I said, I would give you a recap, but that would require me to just basically do the whole spill over again. I wish my iPad would let me bring up the full notes from the people who donate, but for some reason it'll only let me look at half of the note and then it cuts it off, and no matter how many times I click, it just won't bring it up. But Olivia says, thank you so much for everything that you do. I can't read the rest of your message until I get on my actual phone. The iPad is weird for some reason, but you are very welcome, Olivia. My pleasure. Oh well, $15 donation from Fabian. I hope I said that correctly. I probably butchered your name so bad right there. You guys are probably laughing at me right now. Thank you for that $15 donation. Thank you so much. Can we get some clap emojis in chat? You guys know the deal. I'm going to keep saying it until it becomes like a thing, and then I'll stop. I'll stop saying it. But clap emojis in chat, please, to let Fabian, I hope I'm saying that correctly, to let him know that we are so grateful for that donation. Thank you guys so much. You guys are so grateful. You guys are so grateful. You guys are so generous. I'm so grateful. I'm the grateful one. Thank you guys. Seriously, you guys don't have to do that, but thank you so much. You are so kind, and I really, really appreciate that. It truly does help me out a ton. It truly does. Especially with Christmas coming up. You know, I've got 2 younger brothers. I try to make their Christmas special every year since I've been doing YouTube, and I've got a source of income now. I try to make their Christmas special, so Christmas is right around the corner, so it really helps me out, and I'm truly grateful for you guys. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. It helps me out a ton. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for the chat. Time for bed. Thanks for stopping by the stream, Bracy. Hope you sleep well. It's so nice being able to just lay back on the stream. I'm not gonna lie. This new setup, it's so nice to have some back support on these long streams. To have some comfy support that isn't a broken ass computer chair, right? Moving my setup over here was probably the best choice I've ever made. What time is it where you guys are? It is 10 p.m. my time. Mm. $9:18 where you're at, Black Diamond. What time do I go to bed now? I'm still on a good sleep schedule. There for the past like 3 or 4 days, I was going to bed way too early. I was going to bed at like 7 or 8 o'clock, and that's just too early for me. That's a little bit too on track. You know what I mean? So I've got it now to where I go to bed around midnight, which is perfect for me. I love that schedule, going to bed around midnight, getting up around 8 or 9 in the morning. I think that's like the perfect schedule for me, at least. So we're going to try to stay on that schedule for as long as we can. No problem. Thanks, Wonder Bro. You have helped me a lot more than my therapist. LOL. That's awesome. Thank you so much for your donation. It's very generous of you. You guys are so kind. An hour behind, Joe. So you're full-time YouTube now completely? Yes. Full-time YouTube, when I first started the channel, I wasn't aware of how quickly it would grow. I mean, obviously I was hoping for the best, but I really wasn't sure what to expect. But after a few years of doing it, which I've only been doing it for about 2 years now, 3 years maybe at the most, which is not a whole lot of time to be growing a YouTube channel. Um, but yeah, after like a few years of doing it, and I realized that it was catching on and becoming a bigger deal than I thought it would be. I was like, you know what? I want to put all my eggs in one basket, and I just want to go for this. I love what I do. I love doing this YouTube thing, and I'm just going to give it all I've got. And we're just going to focus on it 110%. So that's what we've been doing. Growing the channel, focusing on YouTube 110% with everything that I've got. Putting all my eggs in one basket here. And honestly, I'm not too worried about it. I truly do believe that this channel has great things in store for it. I believe that with every cell in my body. So I'm not worried about it at all. Well, thank you, Black Diamond. I appreciate that. I am the best I have been in years because of Wonder Bro and Dr. Weeks. That is awesome, Hank. Keep going, man. I'm happy for you. Don't forget about Eckhart. Don't forget about Eckhart. I would recommend listening to some of Eckhart's videos even after you've healed. Even after you've desensitized. Present moment living. Wow, that is such a great skill to develop. Whether you're sensitized or not, it doesn't matter. If you just want to live a more peaceful life overall and raise your vibe and your energy and just, like I said, just live a more peaceful life overall, sensitized or not. Present moment living practice, that's a skill that everybody needs. Are you almost going to sleep? Maybe in a little bit. I'm not really sure. I'm enjoying the stream right now. What do I do on my days off? Honestly, I still work on stuff for the YouTube channel. Even on days where I don't stream or upload a video, I'm usually still doing something for the YouTube channel, whether that be planning videos or working on my setup in some way or another, doing thumbnails for videos, advertising my channel, word of mouth, you know. So even on days when I don't stream, I'm usually on the internet, on social media, advertising for my channel, doing something for the channel. I mean, this YouTube channel is my life. This YouTube channel is my life. I do like to do a lot of gaming, though. I am a gamer, so if I'm not doing something for the channel, which is pretty rare, then I'm usually gaming or, listening to music. I don't really do anything too special. I'm not what you would call an exciting person. I keep my life very simple. So, gaming, jamming out to some tunes. Just a few things I like to do in my free time. Have a great night, everyone. Have a great night yourself, Hank. Thanks for stopping by the stream. Really appreciate it. I know this is your job, but has there been doubt that makes you want to quit? Absolutely not. No room for doubt in here. No room for doubt in my mind. I don't entertain those sorts of thoughts. I mean, hey, there you go. There's a perfect example. I still use the advice to this day. If I ever have any thoughts of doubt or, questioning whether or not I can do this for a living, I don't entertain those sorts of thoughts. I don't have time for those sorts of thoughts. I really do think I really do think this channel is going to become something very, very big, and probably soon. Um, and there's a few reasons why I believe that. Not just to toot my own horn, but for one, there's not a shortage of people in the world, unfortunately, that need this advice. There's many, many people out there that need this advice. So, I mean, obviously, we're just going to keep growing. Um, that's unfortunate in a way because, there's so many people suffering, but at the same time, the channel will continue to grow. So I know I can continue to do this for a living. Also, I think people really enjoy. I think people really enjoy the down-to-earth style of videos and streams that I do. Most of the time, if you look up anxiety videos, they're all serious, and they're all, not that we're not serious, but you get what I'm saying. They're all serious suit and tie type stuff. A guy behind a desk with a whiteboard, you know. So I think people really enjoy the down-to-earth style videos and streams that I do. I think they like that I'm just your average dude. You know what I mean? I think that's something that people really, really enjoy. Thank you, Funbox. Appreciate that. The reason every time you think about driving, you feel anxiety is because you've entertained and reacted to those thoughts for so long that your brain thinks those thoughts are dangerous. And so it's kind of been wired to trigger you at this point. But we can reverse that by not getting involved, not arguing with those negative thoughts. Showing the brain by not getting involved that there's no need for the protection. Yes, love your YouTube style. Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, I think people appreciate my style on YouTube because you don't see it a whole lot, right? I know for me personally, every time I looked up anxiety videos in the past, it was always very serious suit and tie type stuff. Like I was saying, a desk and a whiteboard, and I don't think people really want to get their advice from people like that. It's just like, it's cool that you're, you know, trying so hard, but I feel like people enjoy the more laid back, chill guy who's just your average dude and he's not bullshitting you, and he's just your average dude who's been there. I think people like that. I've been watching you for a while, and today I decided to subscribe. Thanks for what you do. Awesome, thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. I do believe that you won't regret it. I do believe that you will enjoy your time here on the channel. We have an awesome community, and I'm sure they will welcome you with open arms. Why do I think anxiety is on the rise here lately, and so many more people are becoming affected by it? The world we live in. A lot of fear-mongering, right? You turn on the news and fear sells, okay? Everybody's becoming more and more negative, it seems. And it's just the entire vibe that's going around. A big reason is we're not taught this stuff as kids. So, you know, we have fearful parents, anxious parents bringing up their kids, not knowing the correct way to deal with anxiety, not knowing about the body and mind. So they're raising their kids to be as anxious and fearful as they are. And before you know it, it's a never-ending cycle of anxious, fearful people spitting out more anxious, fearful people. Um, I think it's just a lack of knowledge, really. It's just a lack of knowledge, and, you know, fear sells, so there's a lot of fear-mongering going on in the world. Um, so I think it's several things, but I think the biggest reason the world is so consumed by anxiety is just a lack of knowledge. I think that's the biggest thing. What do I think of the benzo crisis? I think it's ridiculous that so many doctors and therapists are basically trained to shove pills down people's throats. But you know, big pharma, you got to make that money, right? I mean, that's the way. That's what they're trained to do, to shove pills down people's throats, and big pharma continues to make their millions and billions of dollars, keeping people addicted to these toxic pills. It's a money thing. The benzo crisis, when you get down to it, at the end of the day, it's a money thing. You can't change my mind on that. It is a money thing. Now, that's not to say that all doctors and therapists are bad. You know, there's good therapists out there, I'm sure. I mean, look at Dr. Claire Weeks. Dr. Claire Weeks was a doctor. And she came up with acceptance methods, so not all doctors and therapists are bad people. But, yeah, I think the benzo crisis comes down to money, and it's unfortunate. But as far as pills are concerned, if you want to be on medication, that is your choice. That is not up to anybody but you. That's just my opinion on the matter. But that is completely your choice if you want to go that route. It's not entirely bad either, I will say, to have a crutch. I think Dr. Claire Weeks mentions in her book that if you want to have a crutch and then later on the road, down the road, get rid of your crutch, then so be it. But for me personally, I just did not want to go that route. I did not want to go that route. But medication is a personal choice, so you decide what you want to do. But I think it's just a money racket. It's just a money racket. It's a lot easier to shove pills down people's throat and mask the symptoms than it is to teach people the right way to retrain their brain. It's much more convenient to just throw pills at them. And there's a lot of money to be made once you get people addicted to benzos. There is a lot of money to be made. Multi-billion-dollar industry. Ooh. What about natural pills, like vitamins and so forth? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with what natural stuff, vitamins and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with natural stuff. I'm just totally anti benzo. These man made toxic pills. That's what I'm against. Disclaimer, okay, I feel like I have to say this every time I talk about pills, just to be safe, but disclaimer, if you want to take your medication, take your medication. That is up to you and your doctor, okay? Not up to me. Anyway, with that out of the way, yeah, there's nothing wrong with, like, natural vitamins and stuff like that. Yeah, it's usually how it happens silent. Um, you know, you have a panic attack, you add a bunch of second fear. Before you know it, you're spiraling completely just down the rabbit hole of fear on top of fear on top of fear. You're experiencing all the side effects of fear, and you're just spiraling with more and more second fear. I mean, that's exactly how it happens for pretty much everyone that deals with sensitization. The thought will go away and it will lose its power over you and it'll stop triggering you, Christina, the more you leave it alone. So anytime you're triggered by that thought or you're experiencing that thought, the more you leave it alone and stop getting involved, the more work you're doing for your brain, the more you're retraining your brain to not fear that thought anymore. The more you're teaching your brain that that thought is not a danger, that thought is not needed. I've never went to the hospital or called an ambulance over panic attacks. But I think that's because I just knew that there was nothing they could do for me, right? Like, I don't know. I understand why people would call an ambulance or whatever, especially if they don't know what's happening to them. But after I figured out what I was having was panic attacks, I just never had the urge to reach out to anybody. I don't know, I guess everybody's different. For me personally, I just kind of shut down and I just kind of, stayed to myself and didn't tell anybody what I was feeling. I didn't mention it to anybody. I didn't want anybody to really know. I never really went to many doctors over my anxiety. When I was a kid, like I said, I was an anxious kid. My mom took me to therapy once. I never went back. She also took me to the doctor. I got a bunch of blood work done. Everything came back normal. I was told I had anxiety. They tried to write me Xanax, and I was only like 14 years old. It's fucking ridiculous. I was like 14 years old, and they tried to write me Xanax. And my mom, she refused. She refused to get it filled. She was like, that's not happening. We're not doing that. Thank God. Thank God she did that. Because at the time, I was just a kid. I didn't know any better. I mean, this was before I even ever experienced sensitization. I was just at the doctors for my anxiety in general, but I didn't know any better. I was just a kid. If my mom would have got those pills filled, I'd be hooked on Xanax to this day, probably. So I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful that she did not do that. I think it was at that point that she then took me to the therapist, And I only went one time. I only went one time. Even at 14, I was like, this is ridiculous. This is stupid. I wasn't a fan of therapy. That's not to say all therapy is bad, you know. Continue to see your, if you see a therapist, continue to see your therapist. I'm just talking about my personal experience with it. Oh yeah, definitely. The more you run from the anxiety, the more you're telling your brain there's a danger when there's not, and the more anxiety you get as a result. That's the irony of it. The more you read about it, Christina, the further down the rabbit hole you're going to fall. The more obsession you're going to do, and the further away from peace you're going to become. So, the reason that thought is bringing fear is because you've trained your brain to believe that that thought is dangerous. The way that you've done that is by entertaining that thought. So, the more you entertain that thought, and fight with it, the more the brain continues to think that thought is a danger. So, the more fear it brings. Fear being anxiety. The more anxiety it brings to protect you from that thought. It doesn't know any better. So that's why we've got to start leaving it alone. The sooner we start leaving it alone, the sooner we can show the brain that we don't need anxiety to protect us. The sooner we can show the brain that that thought isn't a real danger. That is OCD for you. You're going to feel compelled to argue with that thought. I know, you are going to feel compelled, but the more you do it, the further away from relief you're going to become. But you can start today, you can start right now, reversing that by noticing the thoughts and refusing to get involved. Show your brain those thoughts aren't needed, that those thoughts aren't a real danger. Eventually they'll stop bringing you fear. Eventually this thought will lose its importance, and your nerves will reap the benefits. It's funny. I've had several people in this stream bring up how they quit smoking because it was giving them anxiety or whatever. And it's just funny. I was thinking about how ridiculous fears are. Because for me personally, when I was sensitized, I smoked even more than I do now. Because I thought it was helping me stay calm while I was sensitized. I mean, I was never calm, but I thought it was helping take the edge off. So I would smoke like a freight train. I mean, I know I'm a heavy smoker now, but you should have seen me when I was sensitized. I was smoking, God, a ridiculous amount. And it's because I thought it was helping, right? But because I believed that, smoking like a freight train, I never really felt anxious about it because in my mind, it was helping. That's what I believed. And then you've got people who say, no, it gave me anxiety, so I quit smoking. But in my mind, while I was sensitized, I was like, I can't quit smoking, that'll make my anxiety worse. It's just ridiculous how fears work. It's ridiculous. That's just one of many examples. There's so many so many contradictions that I see in chat. Said person fears this thing and said person fears this thing, and it's totally contradicting of each other, right? But because you believe that way or because you think that way, then that's your reality. So if you're afraid that smoking is going to make your anxiety worse, you're going to be able to quit smoking with ease because that's what you believe. If you were like me when you're sensitized and you believe that your smoking is going to help calm you, then you're going to smoke like a freight train. It just goes to show you how ridiculous fears are. It really is. It really does come down to what you believe. You're going to get there silent. If you think it, then it exists. Yeah, right? That's my main point here. It's just on my mind because I've had so many people ask me, does the smoking, does smoking make you anxious? And it's like, no. And while I was sensitized, I smoked a shit ton because I thought it calmed me. Then you've got people saying the complete opposite. I quit smoking because I thought it made my anxiety worse. It's really what you believe. I mean, it comes down to your belief system. And that comes back to second fear. I mean, people believe their anxiety's out to get them, that it's going to hurt them in some way, so they continue to add second fear. It really is just your belief system, and beliefs can be changed because we can challenge our beliefs, right? How long has the stream been going on? Just past 2 hours? Alright, you guys. Ugh. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream here. We just passed 2 hours. I did not think this stream was going to go on this long. But it did, and that's okay because I really, really enjoyed it. I am, however, going to go ahead and get some sleep. So thank you guys for stopping by. It's been a great one. Really, really appreciate it. But I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. So until next time, as always, boom, right there. Stay awesome.